let's go ahead and get started on these springs. Okay, so I have a pretty basic spring compressor tool. Got it off of Amazon. It was like 25, 30 bucks, something like that. You take the bottom stem of this thing and you screw it on to that rocker stud right there. Okay, just thread it on all the way down. And now it's fairly snug. This comes with a handle. Okay, it slips on this little arm right here, and as you lift this up, you'll see this is going down. Now it's landed on top of that spring, and if you press it more, well, if I press it more, see how it revealed these little nubby deals right here? That's the keepers that holds that spring in place. Let me get this out of your way so you can see what you're doing. Get my arm out of your way. There, do you see these? So I'm going to take a little needle nose and get that off. Well, now I knocked it off. Little bitty things, and they're in two pieces. And they just go around that. That's the head of the valve stem right there. So there's the other piece to that keeper. Don't lose those. And then just ease the tension off your spring. Nice and easy. Raise that up. Now your spring is free. Just like that. And this is the valve. This is the valve seal. We're going to be replacing that. It's around the valve stem. That's the valve stem. It goes all the way through that circle at the bottom. This is the valve seal. We're going to be replacing those as well. So I'm going to get all of these springs off. They're all going to be the exact same way. And then we'll jump back on these valve stems. Just another quick little tip. Looking right here. So this is a spring that I've already removed. These are the keepers that I've already taken out. I've just got them kind of set on there. You can use a magnet. It's a lot easier than, being with the tweezers and the needle nose and all that. When you pull that lever down and compress that spring, and these are accessible, you can just put your magnet there and snag those bad boys out. So, anyway, if you have a little magnet, you should have one of these anyway, just for other things, but get your magnet, whoop, they'll come right off. Putting them on is going to be another story, but for now, we're just taking off. And there you have it. They're all done. All the springs are gone. Do them all the same way. All right, we're going to get our new ones, get those prepped. Oh, we got to do these valve seals. See, the valve kind of moves up and down, this valve stem, you see that? Going up and down in there. Maybe I can get a little closer one. See that going up and down? This stationary part here, that's the valve seal. That's what we're going to be replacing. New valve seals. So, anyway. Alright, easy stuff. If you get the tool, this will make your life a lot easier. If you don't get the tool, you're going to struggle, springs are going to fly, things are going to break. It's just going to be a nightmare. So, make sure you get the tool and you'll get all your little keepers out. Alright. Okay, skipping ahead. I've got springs coming, got those ordered, I gotta wait for those to come in. So, we're gonna jump over to the lifters. The view we're looking at right now is down in the top of the engine. This is where the intake manifold was, okay? And all of these rings that you can see are the top of the lifters. The camshaft runs underneath there, and it's got these little lobes that as the engine spins, these lobes will go underneath the lifter, push the lifter up, and the lifter will then push the push rod up. So that's how that works. To get them out, just needle nose or something, grab the edge of it right there, slide it right out. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the bottom side of these and these actually look really good. I think maybe someone has actually been in this engine more recently than what maybe I'm considering, because that looks really flat. You see this bottom side right here? What we're looking for is a distinct impression or dent to see if these, that lifter is just smoked and no good. But this is super flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them up on my little table here in the same order that I'm pulling them out. We're going to look at each one, and that's looking pretty good. Nice and flat. Okay. That has a little bit of a ring there, but it's not an impression, so I like it. Moving right along. Let's move a little quicker here. I'm gonna be here all day. Looking good. Looking good. I guess these are getting a little out of camera view for you. That's alright, you're not missing anything. I'm just doing the same thing over and over, coming down the length of the engine. Same thing. Alright, there's the last one on the driver's side. Looking good. Alright, now we're going to start the front side of the engine on the passenger side. That one's a little rough, but not bad. Keep it going. Oh, a little situation on that one. We'll have to look a little closer there. Good. Looking good. Last one. All right, these are all in really good shape. So, man, I tell you what, either there's just very little to no wear and tear, and and evidence of use on these lifters, or someone's been into this engine more recently than what I would think. But I tell you, the way things were stuck and the condition of the gaskets, the condition of the truck when I got it, I just can't imagine that someone had this engine open. I think these are just in really good shape because this engine sat for a long time without being used. I'm talking years this engine sat. I got this truck, I'm in Texas, I got this truck out of Louisiana, and it was just, parked off in the pasture, in the trees. That's why there's so much pine needles and trash and grass and things coming out of this, and so many of these pieces are seized on here. I'm just kind of blown away at the condition of these lifters. But either way, we'll just chalk that up to getting lucky. So all right, let me back this out, and I think what we're going to move to next, we need to get this timing cover off, which is as simple as just these getting those little bolts out. This timing cover will come off, and then that will expose the end of the camshaft. So let me get ready for all that. All right, 7/16, and I'm just, I don't want to use a hand wrench. I'm just being lazy. Now it looks like I'm missing one of the bolts. There should be one going up underneath right there, and it's not there, but it is over here. So snag that one out. Alright, this should be loose. Well, I say loose. It has a gasket that seems to be a little stuck, but here she comes. Did they silicone this thing on? What's going on? Well, good Lord. Can we get a gasket? I mean, a cover off. Yeah, there's the rubber gasket. All right. Timing covers off, and here we go. Timing chain, timing gears. What I hope to do is replace this chain, which, yeah, she's a little loose. That's what happens. You know, they stretch over time. Even though it's metal, it stretches. What I hope to do, though, is get rid of the chain and get a gear system where it'll be this gear, and then there'll be one that's a dog bone shaped gear here, and then of course the gear down here. So they'll just kind of eliminate the chain. That's what I want to do. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that, considering the budget situation. You know, I'm trying to do this with as few dollars spent as possible, but do a good job with it. That is just something that I want to do. I may not be able to. So, but for now, we have the cover off. We have the chain exposed. We're going to pull these three. This will come off. Then we can drop the gear and the chain, and our camshaft is right back there. Hang on. All right, disregard these three for now. I misspoke. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pull this one. It's loose. That's from the torque converter. I put it back in there just so I didn't lose it. Just gonna get that out. And so we're gonna slide everything. This is attached to the cam, and we want to bring everything at the same time. You can take these off, get it off the cam. See, it's wiggly jiggly. You don't necessarily have to, but you can. But you're going to want to slide everything at the same time, right? So we're going to leave them in there. I'm going to show you how we can kind of slip and slide to get this bottom one off also. So take a flathead, and there's this pin right here on the side. It's like a little woodruff key, so to speak, and it's just kind of pressed into that cylinder, whatever you want to call that, the end of the crankshaft. It's just pressed in there. Get that, set that aside, and we're just gonna, I'm gonna use 2 screwdrivers, and we're gonna walk that bottom gear nice and easy, just like that. Walk that one a little bit, and we can slide this one. Cam is coming. Walk it a little bit, slide that one. Now we can just do them all at the same time. Get that off of there. Get that off of there. Come on, baby. Don't you just hate when you're doing something and then it goes wrong, when you're trying to show it what to do? All right, let's go ahead and take these off so we can see what we're doing. Tried to get it all at once. Shouldn't have. Let's just pull these off. Now we've got our top gear off. Let's slide our bottom gear off. I'm going to put these back in the end of my cam. Always losing bolts and screws and nuts. Alright, so that's out of the way. Now this is the end of our camshaft. And this should easy peasy slide out. I, however, am having a little bit of trouble with that. So, but you want to be real careful not to mar things up. There's different you know, it's got these different journals that it runs through, going through there. And so you want to be easy, and I'm not doing the best job of being easy, but you want to try to keep it as straight as you can, because it'll get hung up. There we go, nice and straight. Come on, nice and straight. Nice and straight. See these? These sit in those journals where it rotates, and if it drops, you know, just like this lip could get hung on that lip, it won't make it past. So try to keep it as best you can, nice and smooth. Come on, gear. Come on. There we go. All right. Camshaft is out. Be real careful with it. Don't mar it up and bang it and just snatch it out of there. Be really careful. Just the smallest little, you know, thing, gouge, ding, whatever, could really cause you some problems. So be careful. Anyway, we've got that out. I'm going to go set this down. Okay, and now we have our timing gears and chain, and our cam is out. Making progress, moving right along. Alright, getting towards the end of the teardown. I've got the motor flipped upside down. This is now the oil pan at the top. There's your oil drain plug. There's where your oil filter goes. There's where your starter goes. So just kind of orient yourself. We're upside down. I'm going to pull the oil pan off, and that will show us the main caps and rod caps and our crankshaft. And I'm going to be removing those just to look at our rod bearings and main bearings and see if that's something that we need to replace, or maybe we just replace them anyway for good measure. But for now, let's stick with what we're doing. It is just pulling these small bolts all the way around the oil pan, and they're going to be a 1/2 inch. So we're going to be all along this perimeter pulling bolts. And I think one of the problems I was having is these aren't very tight. They're just whipping right off. And I didn't loosen these prior to starting the video, so they're coming off pretty easy. All right, going around, other side. I guess you can't really see me anymore, can you? I'm still here. Haha. These are dirty. Goodness. Okay, let me see. Did I miss anything? Looking around. We did not miss anything. Alright. Put those right there. Now we're going to see how stuck on here this is. I'm going to get, let me see what you're doing. I'm going to get some gloves, because, man, that thing is some kind of dirty, let me tell you. Alright, let's get some gloves on and pull that open. See if this makes a mess or if we're good and drilling. About to find out. Or if it's just going to be stuck. Hang on. We know what to do when it's stuck. little prying situation. Maybe. There it goes. There we go. There we go. Okay. Coming off. All right. The inside of the Wolfman. That's good and dirty. Shoo. All right, now let's get over here. See what we're looking at. There's your oil pump. This is the pickup screen, or the portion of the pickup tube that has a screen in it. Oop, you can't see what I'm pointing at. Here's the oil pump. Here's the pickup tube. Here's the portion that has the screen. That's what sucks the oil in. So imagine this is upside down. This would be facing the ground where that hole is. And this transformer Autobot looking thing running through the middle is the crankshaft. So what we're going to do is, see these nuts here? You got to get those. You got to get those. These big nuts. These big nuts. You got to get those off. That will lift this portion. We're going to do it all the way down. Those are the main caps. And that will allow us to take out the, or excuse me, sorry, we also have rod caps, or yeah, rod caps for the piston rods. We'll get all these off, and I'll show you a little bit better here in a sec. That will free up the crankshaft. So there we go. Oil pan is gone, and now we're getting down to the guts of it. All right, don't go anywhere. Well, dang it. I seem to have had some technical difficulties with my recording equipment, i.e. my phone, and that entire video did not get recorded. So pulling the crank out is something you're going to have to use your imagination on now. Just kidding. A lot of videos out there, you can see how that's done. Friends, I'm not going to do it all over again to get it recorded. I know I'm kind of lazy, I'm sorry about that, but it was a lot and I just don't want to do it again. But everything looks good, everything's clean. I'm not going to be knocking the pistons out and replacing the rings. Bearings were good in this. Everything is really nice. Those pistons have aftermarket stamps on them, and thinking back a few months ago, when this engine was still in the truck and running, we did a compression test and it was pushing over 100 on every one of these cylinders, so I'm not worried about the rings. So that's pretty much going to do it for the teardown, and actually part of the reassemble, right? The crank is already back in, but just as a reminder, it's just these nuts, okay? And this cap here will come off. And then it's these two bolts and that cap. So that's a main cap. It's a rod cap. Okay? That's a piston rod. That's cap. Each one of them has two bolts. You take those off, you take the cap off, and the bearing is right there. Once you get them all done down the length of the crank, that crank will just lift out. So anyway, I'm done with the teardown. This is as far as I'm going to go with it. And from here, it's the cleaning and the beautification and the rebuild. So it's the fun stuff. This block is nasty and dirty, so I'm going to get it cleaned up. And a lot of the other parts are going to get cleaned up. We're going to knock some of the grime and replace it with some shine. So that's going to do it for the teardown. Moving on to the rebuild and putting it back together. I appreciate you if you're here with me still. Stick around. All the fun stuff is about to start.